Penguin Random House Audio presents Salt in My Soul, An Unfinished Life by Mallory Smith. Read for you by Mozhan Marnò. I could title my memoir Ode to Salt, since salt is part and parcel of the cystic fibrosis experience. Broken proteins lead to an imbalance of salt inside and out of the cells. If you kiss or lick the skin of a CFer, you'll get a first-hand taste, literally, of how fundamental salt is to the disease. CF patients lose so much salt in our sweat that we can get water intoxication from drinking normal water unless we add salt to our water and our food. And salty water helps counteract some of the worst symptoms of the disease. I've noticed the healing effects of salt water since I was a little girl, swimming in the ocean in Southern California and on the many, many family trips we took to Hawaii for my health. I feel as if there's salt in my soul. Mallory Smith. Anyone who knew my daughter Mallory knew she kept a journal. She wrote during treatment, on vacation, when she should have been doing homework, in the hospital, in the middle of sleepless nights, at volleyball tournaments. Once, when Mallory was in high school, after we had a big fight, she stormed into her room and started pounding on her laptop. From then on, I assumed her journal was a repository for her anger. So when Mal gave me the password before she went into transplant, she was afraid she might not make it to the other side. I imagined reading a recap of everything I'd ever done wrong as a mother. It was a terrifying thought. I opened her journal the day of her memorial, thinking there might be something I could use when speaking about her. When I saw its scope, 2,500 pages of her reflections over 10 years, it became clear that Mallory had given me the most precious and unexpected gift a grieving mother could hope for. The absence of any expression of anger toward me left me incredulous and grateful. But always thinking of other people's feelings was vintage Mallory. In the journal, she left clear instructions for me not to let anyone else read the unedited version, so as not to hurt someone she might have railed against in a moment of anger, violate a friend's confidence, or expose the intimate details of her love life to her father or brother. She asked me to share the parts that might help others struggling with cystic fibrosis, loss, chronic illness, body image issues, depression, anxiety, or transplant. Mallory's diagnosis of CF imposed a maturity on her and forced her to ask hard questions from a young age. The answers would lead her to develop a set of remarkable character traits that helped her come to terms with her sickness and helped turn her into a strong, determined, talented young woman who motivated others as she found her way. A 3-sport varsity athlete in high school, Stanford University club volleyball player, and Phi Beta Kappa graduate, Mallory was passionate about the environment, channeling her interest into writing articles and producing radio programs. She wrote her first published book at the age of 24. The Gottlieb Native Garden, a California love story. But more important to Mallory than her accomplishments were her relationships. Her uncanny gift for cultivating friendships was especially remarkable in light of the torment of endless daily medical treatments, frequent hospitalizations, and frustrations caused by systemic hospital inefficiencies. Mallory never got to lead a normal life, but early on chose as her mantra, "Live happy," words she followed until her death. Even at the end, tethered to an oxygen tank and round-the-clock IVs, Mallory exuded happiness as she fought for her life. She faced the overwhelming obstacles of a chronic, progressive illness with courage and grace. Healthcare providers saw her as the perfect patient, the poster child for compliance. But this facade of perfection masked a darker truth, a truth she shared only in the writing she left behind. This is her story. These are her words. Diane Shader Smith. Introduction. I have big dreams and big goals, but also big limitations, which means I'll never reach the big goals unless I have the wisdom to recognize the chains that bind me. Only then will I be able to figure out a way to work within them instead of ignoring them or naively wishing they'll cease to exist. I'm on a perennial quest to find balance. Writing helps me do that. To quote Neruda, Tengo que acordarme de todos. Recoger las brisnas. Los hilos del acontecer arrepiento. I have to remember everything, collect the wisps, the threads of untidy happenings. That line is me. But my memory is slipping, and that's one of the scariest aspects about all this. How can I tell my story? How can I create a narrative around my life if I can't even remember the details? But I do want to tell my story, and so I write. I write because I want my parents to understand me. I write to leave something behind for them, for my brother Micah, for my boyfriend Jack, and for my extended family and friends, so I won't just end up as ashes scattered in the ocean and nothing else. Curiously, the things I write in my journal are almost all bad. The letdowns, the uncertainties, the anxieties, the loneliness. The good stuff I keep in my head and heart. But that proves an unreliable way of holding on because time eventually steals all memories. And if it doesn't completely steal them, it distorts them, sometimes beyond recognition, or the emotional quality accompanying the moment just dissipates. Many of the feelings I write about are too difficult to share while I'm alive, so I am keeping everything in my journal password protected until the end. When I die, I want my mom to edit these pages to ensure they are acceptable for publication, culling through years of writing, pulling together what will resonate, cutting references that might be hurtful. My hope is that my writing will offer insight for people living with or loving someone with chronic illness. Cystic fibrosis is a chronic genetic illness that affects many parts of the body. It operates like this. A defective protein caused by the cystic fibrosis mutation interrupts the flow of salt in and out of cells, causing the mucus that's naturally present in healthy people to become dehydrated, thick, and viscous. This sticky mucus builds up in the lungs, pancreas, and other organs, causing problems with the respiratory, digestive, reproductive, endocrine, and other systems. In the lungs, the mucus creates a warm and welcoming environment for deadly bacteria like Pseudomonas aeruginosa and Burkholderia cepacia. The vicious cycle of infection, inflammation, and scarring that comes from the combination of viscous mucus and ineradicable bacteria leads to respiratory failure, the most common cause of death in cystic fibrosis patients. It's progressive, with no cure, which means it gets worse over time. The rate of progression varies from patient to patient and is often out of our control. Cystic fibrosis is a disease that does a lot of taking, of dreams, of time, of travel, of friendships, of freedom, of potential, of plans, of lives. Sitting in a hospital bed, I'm tempted to think about all the things that have been taken from me. More than that, it's easy to think about all the things I want for my future that might no longer be possible. The will-be-takens. I was diagnosed at the age of 3. As a kid, I made plans. I loved getting in bed at night because I had the opportunity to fantasize uninterrupted about whatever I was excited about. Some of what I thought about had to do with the future, where I would choose to live later in life, places I wanted to travel to, what I might be like as a teenager and then as an adult. Mostly I envisioned other parts of the world. Back then, anywhere was better than Los Angeles. The foreign always transcended the familiar. The unknown was brimming with possibility, while the known was full in a less satisfying way. Like a big glass of a clumpy protein shake. You know what's good for you, but it doesn't rock your world. Daily routines, school days spent reading textbooks, long medical treatments I didn't want to do. As Dr. Seuss says, "You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way." I believed wholeheartedly in those great places to come. But for a CF patient, time is the meanest of forces. Just as water steadily erodes rock over the years, causing durable material to crumble with the invisible quality of slow change, my disease erodes the life blueprint I drew as a kid. With time, invisibly but surely, I grow decreasingly confident in the plans that I had etched in this mental map, until it's hard to remember they were ever there. Occasionally, I'll remember with a smile the whimsical desires I had as a kid, and how tenaciously I fought for them. The doll.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?